Hey, welcome back. It's JWalter here, and here's your latest housing market update. Hope you guys are having an awesome day, by the way. In today's video, I'm going to share a brand new report from Realtor.com that was actually published today at the time of this video, which is the 9th of June. In this report, they stated that home prices have started to soften. On top of this, housing supply, or the number of houses for sale, has continued to increase. So that's the topic of today's video. I'm going to take a deep dive into this report for you guys. So hope you guys get a lot of value out of today's video. And of course, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. I post the latest housing market updates so you can make a more informed decision about where you should buy or sell a house. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. This again is according to Realtor.com that was published on the 9th of June of this year. And these are the latest housing market trends for the week ending June 4th. And it says here the pace of the median listing prices is still remaining above historical averages, but it trailed last week's for the first time in 7 weeks. So what I really like about Realtor.com's housing market updates is that they give housing market trends week by week compared to the same week 1 year ago. So they're basically saying that asking prices still remain above averages, but they actually trail behind last week's, but for the first time in 7 weeks. And I'll share more regarding that. Also, as for sale inventory grows, we expect to see more signals of moderation, but for the most part, these signals remain on the horizon. In my opinion, what they're talking about here is home prices and also days on the market, how fast houses are selling, and of course, how much they're selling for, because there's a lot of other data that suggests that home buying demand is decreasing that I shared in previous videos with you guys. It says, in the meantime, home shoppers continue to grapple with competitive housing market conditions. Overall, across the United States, it still remains a strong seller's market. Of course, every housing market's different though, right? And it says here the median listing price, again, the seller's asking price, grew by 16.9% over last year. And it says the typical asking price of for sale houses, in other words, not brand new houses, was higher than 1 year ago by double digits for a 25th week. This is definitely not what we normally would expect to see on a historical level. Home prices tend to increase in the range of 5 to 6%, or I should say 3 to 6%, and not for home prices or asking prices to increase by almost 17% year over year. However, it says for the first time in 7 weeks, this week's growth rate in the median list price came in slightly under last week. I'll share some data regarding that here in just a little bit. Also, an increase of housing supply is also expected to help tame home price growth. So in other words, if we have more housing supply or more houses listed for sale, that's going to give more options for home buyers. And it's not going to cause the houses that do get listed for sale to drive up in home price. So let me give you an example. Let's just say 1 year ago, we had one house listed for sale in one neighborhood. Compared to now, maybe we have 10 houses for sale or maybe 5 houses for sale. So 1 year ago, if we have one house listed for sale in one single neighborhood, that's going to cause a lot of home buying demand for that one single house, a lot of offers to be received, and then the home price to increase, or the offers to increase in price. And ultimately, if that happens over and over again across the neighborhoods, that's going to drive up home prices greatly. However, if housing supply increases, that gives more home buyers more options. Therefore, home buyers are not going to have to offer crazy offer amounts in order to get their offer accepted, and that should cool home price appreciation. In any case, an increase in the number of houses for sale is expected to tame home price growth. However, it's only a hint of relief. The typical home asking price is still advancing about 3 times faster than it would in a normal market. Again, a gain of almost 17% year over year. We should be expecting a 5% increase year over year, not 17%. Therefore, it will take much more inventory to see a significant slowdown in home price growth. So here are the percent changes in the median asking prices across the United States compared to 1 year ago. So 3 weeks ago, we had a gain of 16.6%, then it increased the following week by 18.2%. But as you guys can see here, for the week ending June 4th, the most recent data we have an increase by 16.9%. Therefore, for this week, we actually saw a deceleration of home price growth, however, still higher than normal levels. Meanwhile, the number of new listings, which is a measure of sellers putting their houses up for sale, increased by 2% compared to 1 year ago. Realtor.com has also seen more houses come up for sale, or more new listings, compared to last year in 9 out of the last 10 weeks. Obviously, a step in the right direction if we want to see some normalcy in our housing market here. So obviously, more listings mean more options for home buyers, and also that's going to be increasing the total number of houses for sale. Speaking of housing supply or active inventory, active inventory increased by 13% compared to 1 year ago. It says here the turnaround in the number of houses for sale continues, and year-over-year growth signals that this is more than just a seasonal improvement. In other words, this is more than what we should expect during this time of year. Inventory was also roughly on par with last year's levels at the beginning of May. Housing supply was basically flat compared to 1 year ago at the beginning of May compared to the beginning of May of 2021. However, it's now up 13% at the beginning of June. Obviously, we're having more options for home buyers. However, we still have a relatively low number of houses for sale. Also, we're nearly 50% below housing supply compared to the beginning of this pandemic. One thing I definitely want to mention though, about 3 weeks ago, this number was approximately 60%. So now it's actually less than 50%. Still, we have a long ways to go, but we're still moving in the right direction. And you can see that here with new listings. We're still down 1% year to date. But look at this. We had a big increase for the week ending May 21st. For the week ending May 28th, only a gain of 2%. Also for this week, only a gain of 2% as well. So we also need a lot more houses to be listed for sale in order to cool off this housing market further. Also, active listings, which of course is housing supply, which again increased 13% for this week compared to 1 year ago. Look at this trend though. At the beginning of May of this year compared to last year, this number was basically 0%, basically on par with 2021. And this has been increasing greatly. I believe for the week before this was a gain of 6%. Now they've increased by 9%. Then 11%, and now 13%. So we're obviously moving in the right direction, a gain of 13% of active listings compared to 1 year ago. And here's another way to look at this. This is according to Uncle Fred, of course, and the source here is Realtor.com. Anytime you look at Fred's website or Fred's graph, look at the source here. They always tell you what the source is. It's not the source is not Fred. It's actually pulling from other websites here. In any case, according to Realtor.com on Fred's website here, we have 516,000 houses for sale as of the end of May of 2022. So again, 516,000. Compare that to May of 2021, we had 477,000. So to compare that to 1 year ago, we had approximately 478,000 houses for sale. So in other words, we have a gain of approximately 38,000 houses compared to 1 year ago. Of course, the bigger story is looking at housing supply this year compared to the prior years though, right? So in May 2020, we had approximately 1 million houses for sale in the US compared to 516,000 this May. So basically a decrease by about 50%. Compared to May 2019 though, look at this. May 2019, approximately 1.3 million houses for sale in the US. Also in May of 2018, also about 1.25 million. And then in May 2017, 1.3 million houses for sale. Now we only have 516,000, and that's why home prices continue to increase and also houses still selling very quickly. And speaking of houses still selling very quickly, according to Realtor.com, homes spent 5 days less on the market than this time last year. So more houses listed for sale will eventually bring more balance to this housing market, cooling the ultra fast pace of home sales we've seen over the past few years. But so far, this relief is still on the horizon. And according to their May housing market update, houses still sold very, very quickly, reaching a new record low for days on the market. One thing I definitely want to bring to your attention though, and I actually wrote a note right here, this is a lagging indicator. When we're talking about days in the market, again, this is when a home seller lists their house for sale to when they ultimately accept an offer from a home buyer. That's days on the market. So if the days on the market's 12 days, then that's a time when they list their house for sale to when they accept an offer from the home buyer. And this is only counted for houses that actually sold. So we're talking about days on the market, again, 5 days faster this time compared to last year. This is for houses that actually have sold. So in other words, this is when the buyer locked in their mortgage rates back in late March to April, when rates and inventory were much, much lower than today. So in other words, if home buying demand continues to decrease, yet we still see an increase of housing supply, this is going to cool off our housing market, and it also is going to cause our days on the market to increase as well. And speaking of our housing market, here's a look at the latest we have for month supply. So again, right now, according to Uncle Fred here, actually the source is the National Association of Realtors, we have basically a 2.2 month housing supply in the US. If we want a more balanced real estate market, this number needs to be in the range of 4 to 6 months. If we want a buyer's market where buyers have the advantage over home sellers, which I hope that happens someday soon, we need this number to be above 6 months, not 2.2 months. And basically over the last year, we haven't reached levels above 2.6 months. So definitely we have a long ways to go. And a side note, I really wish that we'd see a 5-year and 10-year trends for this. But this is according to the National Association of Realtors. And for whatever reason, you can't get data past 12 months. You have to pay for it. So that's why the Uncle Fred here is only including the month supply over the last 12 months and not beyond that time range. Something else I want to bring to your attention as well when looking at this graph here, take a look at this because the month supply, more or less, I think it might have reached all-time record lows in January of this year at 1.6 months. But as you can see here, for 3 consecutive months, the month supply has increased, which obviously is a step in the right direction. We definitely need a lot more houses to be listed for sale in order to cool off this housing market. But the reason why we're seeing a month supply increase is because of lack of affordability in the United States, because of record high home prices and of course rising mortgage rates as well. And Freddie Mac's chief economist had this to say today: mortgage rates rose again on the back of increased economic activity and incoming inflation data, which is, at the time of this video, I'm making this on the 9th. The inflation data for May is actually being published on the 10th, tomorrow at the time of this video. The housing market is incredibly rate sensitive. So as mortgage rates increase suddenly, like we saw this year, demand again is pulling back. The material decline in purchase activity combined with the rising supply of homes for sale will cause a deceleration in price growth. In other words, home prices are going to continue to increase, but not increase at levels we saw compared to 1 year ago. And this will provide some relief for buyers still interested in purchasing a house. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about home prices this year? Are we going to be seeing home prices increase by double digits again? Comment below. Also, if you guys got any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.